So I was in my local butcher this week looking for some inspiration, as I quite often do, and I came across some really nice looking oxtail. And I haven't smoked oxtail in a long while, so I thought I'd pick them up. They're really, really simple to cook. It's pretty much foolproof. We're gonna smoke them, braise them, and make up a barbacoa inspired taco dish. Looking very nice. Big bit of cartilage in there, nice amount of fat. These almost cook down like a beef cheek. And any big chunks of fat like this, you can trim it down. I'm personally gonna leave it because we're gonna render a lot of that out. And then when we come to braise it, pull it apart, maybe even chop it up, you won't even notice that this is there. I've got some 16 mesh black pepper and some diamond crystal kosher salt. 2 parts pepper to 1 part salt. And I'm just gonna get a little coating on all of these. The majority of the interesting flavor is going to come from the braise. So going simple with just salt and pepper right now. Just want to get a little bit of seasoning into this, some nice coarse texture so we can get a nice little bark going. So now I just need to get some smoke onto these, and you could do that on any barbecue that you've got. You could use an offset, a pellet grill, a Weber, pretty much anything that's going to create a little bit of smoke. Today I think I'll fire up the PK. That charcoal looks like it's about ready to go. Gonna go on with our oxtail. Gonna be cooking at around 250 Fahrenheit, I think. Gonna go on with a little bit of oak, shut that down, come back in about an hour. So these have been going for about 2 hours now. Got some nice color, definitely picking up some good smoke flavor, and I think they'll be ready to come off in not that long. Just wanted to get a check in on them, make sure nothing was burning up, making sure this PK is not cooking too hot. I don't actually have a thermometer in here, so I'm just kind of basing it on how things look over time. But I think we're probably cooking at 250 to 275, somewhere in that region. These will be coming off in a bit. So those oxtails are probably going to come off the PK in the next hour or so. So I'm going to make up a nice braising liquid, and I'm going to make it up in a pot now, warm it through. So when I add the oxtails to the liquid's already hot, and I don't have to rely on the heat from my barbecue to bring up the temperature of the braising liquid. It's just going to save a lot of time. So I'm just going to take a pan or a pot, and I'm going to go in with a little white onion, some slightly crushed garlic cloves, a couple of ancho chilies, some chipotles in adobo. We'll go with 4, and some of that liquid, some cumin, ancho chili powder, some Mexican oregano, and some high quality beef stock. Top that off with some water, and then we'll bring this up to a boil, then a low simmer for a little while, get all those flavors going, and it'll be ready to use as a braising liquid. So about 3.5 hours later, these are looking nice. Got some good color on them, definitely some nice smoke flavor. Not sure exactly on the temp, but that's not really that important right now. All I know is these have got some color, they've got some smoke, and they're not tender. So let's take them inside, get them in that braise. So we've got that nice hot braising liquid. Now we're just gonna go in, pour it all in. And you might be wondering, why didn't I blend all this stuff up into a nice thick braising liquid like you would do with something like a birria? But I'm not really looking for a thick sauce. I just wanna extract all the flavors from the chilies, the garlic, all of that stuff, not necessarily create a sauce out of it. Next, we're gonna take some foil and very, very tightly lock this all in, making sure to seal up all the edges. So now we've got a choice. This could go back onto the barbecue and continue cooking around 250 Fahrenheit to 300 Fahrenheit until it's incredibly tender. Or if you don't want to use up any more fuel, you can do what I'm gonna do and put this into the oven. I've actually got to go out and I don't want to leave my PK unattended for too long. So this is gonna go into the oven for about maybe 2 to 3 hours before I check it. Really just depends on when I get back. The oven's gonna be set to about 275 Fahrenheit. And yeah, we'll check it in a couple of hours. So while those oxtails are getting tender, we're going to make up a real quick, simple, easy tomatillo salsa or salsa verde. And here in the UK, I like to use these canned tomatillos just because it's not that easy to find good quality fresh tomatillos, and these are consistent and they work just as well in my opinion. And to go with these, into a small pot, we want a little bit of white onion, 3 or 4 garlic cloves, peeled and slightly crushed, some green chilies, and I use these quite often, and a lot of people think that they are jalapenos or jalapenos, but they're not. They're actually bullet chilies. This is the kind of green chili that we get here in UK supermarkets. I'm gonna leave the seeds and membrane in. We'll cover this in some water, and we'll bring this up to a boil for about 10 minutes. So while that comes up to a boil, we'll get these tomatillos out of the can. And if you were using fresh tomatillos, then you would want to put them into the boiling water. But because these have been canned, they're pretty much ready to go. They're nice and soft, so these can just go in. 10 should do. These can go into a freezer bag and into the freezer. They'll last for a long time. maybe 11. And after 10 or 15 minutes or so, we're gonna add our onion, green chili, garlic, a good handful of coriander, you might call it cilantro, about the juice of about 1/4 of a lime, and then the Salsa Snob secret recipe chicken bouillon powder. I'm gonna go for a big pinch of that. Today, I'm just gonna use a teaspoon measure, just because I have this close by. And then, because we don't want to blend hot ingredients in a sealed container, we're gonna let this cool down for a little bit. Meanwhile, we'll make up some other additions for the taco. That being some finely diced onion, some finely chopped coriander, tiny pinch of salt, some lime juice. That'll be good. This is all cooled down, so we'll blitz this up. Actually needs more tomatillo. Perfect. Looking good. So about 3.5 hours after this went into the oven, I am pretty confident this is gonna be done. I'd be very surprised if they weren't super tender, completely tender, absolutely zero resistance. All the meat has come away from the bone. That's what an oxtail bone looks like. And the meat itself just falls apart. Nice and glistening, almost like a beef cheek. That is looking really, really good. So I'm just gonna go through and pull out any of the stems from the ancho chili, any pieces of that round cartilage from the oxtail, any bones. To be honest, most of this stuff has completely disintegrated, like this garlic here, which is just almost like a confit pureed garlic now. Same with the onion. Discard all that and then just pull the meat from the oxtail off the bone. I love how barky that still is. That looks really good. And yeah, pretty much the rest of it will go into our tacos. I'm gonna go down with some homemade HEB style butter tortillas, some of that smoked oxtail, plenty of barky bits on there, salsa verde, onion and coriander, obviously. And then if you've got it, a little bit of cotija cheese. You could use crumbled feta or parmesan if you can't get hold of cotija. A couple of lime wedges. They look really, really, really good. A little bit of lime. Smells absolutely incredible. Smells like beef cheek, to be honest. Yeah, very, very much looking forward to this. This is gonna be great. Homemade butter tortillas, smoked and braised ox cheek with all those chilies, garlic, all the usual stuff. Homemade tomatillo salsa, doesn't get much better. Honestly, perfect. There really isn't much I'd change about that, if anything. I can't think of anything right now. Yeah, very good. Pretty much tastes like a beef cheek, to be honest. It's very gelatinous. Maybe doesn't quite have the same flavor as a beef cheek, but it has the same texture, especially when you have it in a taco just like this. Kind of tastes like regular barbacoa. But yeah, everything from the smoke flavor, the seasoning on the oxtails, nice little bark on there, quite peppery. That homemade salsa verde as well is just perfect. So yeah, definitely recommend picking up some oxtails and giving this a go. As I said before, just like beef cheek, they're super forgiving. They're easy, you're not gonna ruin them, especially as you're cooking them in a braise. If you wanna get that Texas style bark on beef and have it super juicy, perfect taco filling, oxtails are very common and really, 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 really worth getting. So yeah, please let me know if this video inspired you at all. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, do all those things. It really, really, really does help me out. And I'll see you next week for another video.